looking at the banner now, it's going to be Joy. So it's very interesting that we see Joy to be banned on the second phase. So I'm not really expecting to see Joy to be banned unless you have a different hero in mind. Maybe because they've already secured the hero already for Sanford, which is Labu. And Lance, okay, so
Interesting.
it's as if Smart Omega actually denies one of the strong heroes for Ryzen. Remember that majority of the heroes that Ryzen used on their wins is the tank slot. So this is a different story for them.
Yeah, but now with how the drafting went on here, as we still don't know the pick for Carl TZ, he might end up picking something like a tank, jungle Grok actually, considering that Fredrin might go into the hands of Ryzen.
By the way, this is something that Echo did against, I believe that was Bren Esports when they were up against Fredrin. They played the Valentina jungle.
Up against a Fredrin.
Yeah, it's a hero that matches up well with the Fredrin because the thing is, even if you try to duke it out as Fredrin against a Valentina, you're not gonna be coming out of that duel in a victorious state because Valentina just sips out some health and XP from harassing you. So it is a possibility for Echo to go for that route, and they're in a very good place right now to actually get Cho still.
Yeah, Cho. Cho is the perfect hero here for Echo, actually, even for the side of a Smart Omega. Remember that these are the teams that uses that, but he's gonna be okay. So Valentina jungle. So we could see the adjustment of Echo. We've mentioned earlier that there's no airborne to be expected from Echo, and they really respect that Kelra is gonna be using Melissa. So nice adjustment by Echo, which makes Smart Omega that they could actually even convert this Fredrin into an XP laner. Just to find and zone out this Valentina, or maybe even the Eve on this game. So for Luis's hero, we could expect possible. Actually, I was about to say Yusha, but it was banned with Smart Omega itself. But Benedetta and
that's why.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So they pick up the Franco and they can pick it. And I wanted to say this, a Grok for Yaoi. They just needed something that can crowd control, maybe even quickly knock up Kelra inside his go-away bubble, just something that can disrupt. Doesn't need to be a stun on the wall, just a quick little knockup would be enough coming in from the Grok. Okay, we have a clear picture now of the drafts of these two teams.
Okay, so looking at the lineup for both of our teams, we could say that this is really a type of lineup wherein there's no point in them to deal with each other in terms of other objectives. It's really more of stopping the tempo of each other, having the Grok on the side of Echo and at the same time the Faramis Cult Altar for Smart Omega. It's thinking wisely and as much as possible predicting the movement. So vision is going to be a problem here for the side of Smart Omega, not knowing that there is a Grok for the side of Echo. And again, late game versus early game, but for the lineup of Smart Omega, they are also up for the early game, having the Franco, and they really have to capitalize Bloody Hunt for early game.
Yeah, so what we talked about in terms of what Omega needs to do and how they want to play, they exactly did it. A lineup that has heroes that can make plays alone, a lineup that's good for 2 versus 2, 3 versus 3 pickoffs. Omega have filled out their conditions well that we've set for them.
Yep, and you want Chaos Squared? You have Faramis Valentina. You know, there's 2 cult altars happening in this game. I'm gonna lose my voice here, but Hook is gonna coming out from Miko. Carl TZ is gonna be delayed a little bit, but that is not going to be a problem for the Valentina.
Okay, so for Smart Omega, what we really have to focus is the Petrify spell from Luis. The difference is that for Echo, yes, they have crowd control, but a millisecond of Petrify is a big factor in terms of team fights. So they really have to look forward in that, knowing that Benedetta is the type of hero that escapes well during team fights. But this is Sanford he's up against. So we might see a 5v5 as early as possible because you want to, as much as possible, counter out the rotation. So this is the usual play. True. We were seeing on the bottom lane, by the way, having Franco on your lineup. So Benny QT
is what is good on the side of a Smart Omega, but he did mention that both sides can actually fight in the mid game as 5, and I feel like with Echo having this incredible power spike with the Valentina, it's gonna be difficult for Omega to hold their own.
Well, actually, it's interesting to see that Echo has been forcing those plates or altitude energy shields on a top lane. So they are just preparing for that turtle team fight. And take note
heroes.
that the IMU here for Carl TZ is going to be that cult altar.
Sanford.
Sanford
zone out.
already used his, what do you call this, bravest fighter.
It does not hit, and Carl TZ is still on the turtle. Sanford, however, on 3 heroes. Reload manipulation has been laid out by Sanji like a final blow, but Echo gets the turtle, and Omega gets nothing in return.
Big win early on there for Echo. Not the approach that Omega wanted to do in that sequence. A little bit messy there, but it's also a testament to Echo just messing them up.
Yep, indeed, messy. And again, this is the edge of having a Grok on your lineup, anti-crowd control, and you actually deal the crowd control for your team. And at the same time, it's as if Miko wanted to go for that hook, but at the same time, he wasn't able to pull that off against Sanji. So it's as if Omega is taking their time to have that Diesel power up. So we are looking forward to those set of plays. And a good thing is that when we talk about the marksman matchup at the bottom lane, things are looking good. So we might see the conversion later on at around 8 minutes of our game.
This, I believe, is League 310 on Benecutie.
Oh,
On the Claude.
very quickly there that he got it. So it just goes to show how much fun and comfort Benecutie has there in the gold lane, and now he's even quickly rotating through the mid lane to get a bit of farm as well. And now, because of Omega being pick-off dependent, not with their 2 pulls, they have 2 pulls. One on the Franco, one on the Faramis. Maybe that's why they ended up going with the Grok, because usually the victims of pulls from these two are the roamers of the
Initiators,
opposing
yes.
team. Yeah. So now Yaoi just sticking beside walls, power of nature, doesn't need to worry about it because he doesn't get crowd control in that state.
And in other moments, actually, he can be the bait for the other
Yeah,
team. And then
right.
if there's going to be a pull from Omega, he would just go for the wild charge. Just to
Yeah.
counter out the
Instant
initiation.
Tungo.
Instant dongo. As nice as says.
Yeah.
Dongo.
The dongo.
The
That's how he
dongo
really
play.
pronounces it.
Yeah.
The dongo.
Yeah.
The dongo.
He says dongo.
Yeah. By the way, explainer there, that's what certain players, especially on the side of Echo, call the ultimate of
Yeah.
the Grok, the Dungul. But
Nice
if you're
dongo.
but if you're nice and you're in the English stream, it's Dungul.
Dongo.
Dongo.
Not a dongle.
Yeah,
but-
It's a
it's kind of
different
like the
one.
same.
yeah.
Dongo.
All right.
Did you just say dongo?
Okay.
We might see that dongle again for this spiritual objective.
All right.
Yeah.
It's active for Yaoi, but we can see for Omega right now, they really have to consider
Yeah.
how Stone will use the
Sanford.
cult altar.
Again, we're the bravest fighter.
Wow.
Zoning out the brethren of Smart Omega, and again, fundamental approach by Echo to secure that turtle.
One-man zone out here, and we're getting closer and closer to sudden power spike, one team fight leading to 3 or 4 kills timers for Echo. I need to come up with a better way to shorten that, but that's what I'm talking about here. The Claude undisturbed, fastest DHS so far.
Yeah, that's...
Echo can spike suddenly and surprise Omega.
Yes, and this is actually dangerous for the side of Omega because this is not the usual Echo that we see. They are on a slow start, but everything is working
Carl.
well for their rotation.
Carl, both retreats has been used, Ryzen with the energy eruption. And Echo, they're just waiting for the chance here, but Benecutie has been pushing. Bottom of lane, there goes the dongle from Yaoi, and Keller drops as Carl TZ goes in with his own cult altar just to get out of the tower, and Echo takes the kill.
The charge was indeed wild by Yaoi, setting up that kill.
The dongle for a dungeon play here
Yeah.
for Omega. And this is something that Omega has to look forward. Again, those flicker wall charges from Yaoi and Echo right now, they are slowly turning into that Echo Express again. But for Omega, what they really want is to, as much as possible, give space to Kelra. Even Luis with those backup plays, having the Petrify, we've mentioned that earlier. Now, Cartis, the good thing with this jungler, or the play that he's been doing, is since he has the lead in terms of the levels, he is aware that there is a passive advantage against the other players. But right now, take note that Luis already has the Bloodlust Axe. So we might see him to be part of the initiations and even the team fight later on.
Yeah, that's a big if though, because so far I've just been seeing way more Sanford with how he's controlling lane. Quicker to clear the wave, maximizing his damage and pokes, that his presence is much more felt compared to the Benedetta of Omega.
Yeah, and it feels bad for Smart Omega, dude. Like, Ryzen, his resources, it's being taken away by the Grok.
Yeah, but the Grok, take note, he's supposed to give vision, but at the same time, he's able to negate the jungling pattern of Omega. Even the movement right now of Omega isn't really that nice if you're up against Echo, and the lead is just expanding for Echo on this game. It is now around at 3K. So later on, there is gonna be a conversion for the side of Echo, and looking at the difference in terms of the itemization, even for, we call it an itemization we're in for Sanford, that he is aware that he needs the damage and at the same time physical defense. So leg steel plates and added the physical attack, and in an instant, the Benekute just pokes the turrets against Omega.
Grok is getting the vision over Smart Omega. Ryzen with the energy on the hooks there. Reload manipulation being used by Sanji, but Yawi is able to flicker out. Ryzen follows up with the Appraiser's Wrath, and he is able to get the roamer off the Orcus. But Sanford has a different idea with a flicker in onto Kelra against the Melissa. It's damage and not yet. The color is there, and Omega saves their own marksman. They take two, and Echo cannot answer back. The card easy. He wants to fight still, but Smart Omega disengages.
And look at that. After that team fight, Echo just disengaged against Omega, and there's no actually trade for the side of Omega. But these are the moments we're in. If you are Echo, you have to be mindful of those flicker initiations that are really deep on the map of Smart Omega. It is a 2-2, yes, but look at the lead. It is 1.5k gold lead, and even Sanji has the Ice Queen 1, so things might be slower for Omega if they really want to counter-engage against Echo.
Oh, the Tongo is there from Yawi the Grok with the wild charge onto the Benedetta. Electro blow being used, but Sanji is there. He catches the Benedetta off guard, and he cuts off the exit for the Benedetta.
Brilliant decision there by Yawi. He was waiting for an eye for an eye of the Benedetta, saving the ultimate, maximizing the Dungo coming out of that Grok.
Wild charge.
Yeah, and even right on point for the Void Crystal for Sanji at that moment, so then Luis.
Carl with the poke on the Brethren. Ryzen at 75% HP, and Echo is confident on this Lord take. Miko, however, is sitting in front of the Lord, so he gets vision. Hook is not going to land on anybody, and Smart Omega has their heroes on, has their sights on this Lord.
Echo has the lead here, but we have seen Omega has a capability to turn around the situation. So Echo needs to respect that. They still have the lead, but Omega might just turn this around if Echo aren't careful.
Actually, it's a bit difficult for Ryzen to force this Lord pull because of the taunts from Cartesi's hero. So even the slow from Sanji onto this game. Nice control by Echo, by the way, on this Lord pit.
Echo, Yawi positioning himself to find and look for a big wild charge. The Guardian's Barrier is there, but Storm is in with the Ghost versus Sanji, though, with the reload manipulation. Luis with the electro blow, but Cartesi secures the Lord here for Echo, and they want to fight. They have Lapu Lapu on the front lines against Ryzen and Omega. They cannot. Oh, it's there. It connects onto Sanji, but Benekute with the Blazing Duet. Echo, they really want to fight conceal from Smart Omega. They want to chase for more, but the wild charge is there from the Grok and Echo. They completely wipe out the heroes here on the side of Smart Omega. It is just Stone left, but there are enough heroes on the side of Echo to just dive in the towers of Smart Omega. They take out the Claude, however, with Luis on the Benedetta. He wants to go for more, but Yawi is survivable. He is able to get out of the fight, but Cartesi, he wants to go for the chase against Luis, but the Benedetta can get away. But that is massive for Echo.
For Yawi, dang, that's the goal for that Grok. Again, he was able to pull off that play, and take note, we really have to commend what Sanji did during that moment. He was able to zone out Stone and force the Cult Altar just to be used alone to save himself during that team fight. And at that moment, Echo was just dictating the flow of the objective taking on that Lord. That nice minion wave flowing, by the way, for the team. And we can see now a gap in terms of the gold in for this marksman. For Omega, we only have 2 items for Kelra on this game, while for Echo, for Benekute to be exact, he has...
Seal. Okay. Yawi with the wild charge and real world manipulation being laid out by Sanji. But the Call Otter is there, but it has been depleted by Echo, and they don't have a sustain. Lapu Lapu goes in, as well as Cartesi. Benekute as well with the damage output, but he is fighting off Kelra. He wants to be able to fight back against Echo, but the Blazing Duet is there to take out the Melissa and Smart Omega. They lose 4, and Echo only loses Sanford.
Kelra falls to the tune of the Blazing Duet as the Orcas have their eyes set on ending this game.
He comes in, energy eruption, it's not going to be enough, and Echo, they are going to take game number 1.
Louder and louder are the drums of war of Echo thundering Closer to the barangay. Backs against the wall is Omega. Echo comfortably pushing them and comfortably pushing themselves into the upper bracket. Just one more point away.
You know what? For Echo, we've mentioned the controlled aggression.